Now, the reason I wrote this book is not only the latest cognitive science on learning, accelerated learning, and performing at your best, but really it's a field-tested guide because I've seen it all. And for working with children who have no resources, that are in foster care, that have ADD or dyslexia, to seniors that are losing, like my grandmother, losing their memory and their mind, and everyone in between, you see patterns, right? And so what is motivation? I don't believe that you have to enjoy the process. I always want to find joy in the process of working out. But if you know my morning routine, if you've gone through my programs, one of the first things I do in the morning is I take an ice bath or I take a cold shower. How many of you do this? How many of you love the cold? Like, I don't. I grew up in the Northeast, in New York. I despise the cold, but I do it even when I'm here every single day, because the first part is I have a reason. I'm very clear on the reasons I'm doing something. And, one of the people that had endorsed my book is a good friend of mine, Simon Sinek. How many of you know Start With Why? And they always say, start with why, and that's your reason, your purpose. And I don't mean your life purpose, because that's a different conversation. But what gets me to do the cold, or what gets me to work out, or do the things that are important, like follow through on the things you learn in this quest, is some of us forget those reasons. And again, this is so simple, it's so common sense, but it's not common practice. Because I feel this obligation as your super brain coach to not tell you what you want to hear, what you need to hear. And if you get, what you get out of an event like this is like, look, knowledge is not power. It's a lie. It's potential power. It becomes power when we what? When we utilize it. But that means that you're motivated. Now, reasons come first. So we have a process for you asking questions and getting associated to all the benefits that come from doing these things. Like, why do you know when you work out you feel bad? No one's ever worked out and then said, oh, I wish I didn't do that, right? We know the benefits, but sometimes we forget those things. And it's not, insanity is doing what? And doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I don't think it's insanity. I think it's just a bad memory. You know what I mean? Because you're not remembering. You're dating that same kind of person because you're not remembering what happened, the pain, right? Or you're eating that poor food and you're overeating it, and it's not even food, because junk food is not a thing. It's junk, and then there's food, right? But we're still doing it because we're not remembering the pain. So it's a process for getting the reasons and plugging back into your reasons of, wow, I'm able to remember names. I'm able to be able to do this, and then associating, because otherwise we're a thermometer again. We're just reacting because the current culture outside of this room doesn't support you to thrive, right? It's not, this event is about transcending. It's about ending the trance. Ending this mass hypnosis through marketing, fear-based media that basically says you're not enough, right? Because it's in their interest for you to be that way, because it's easier for you to consume, it's easier for you to be controlled, right? But it's you stepping up, coming to an event like this, and transcending and you setting the standard, and then your behaviors come out of that. So you have your reasons first. But then I looked into it, I was like, wow, a lot of people have the reasons to do it, and they even feel it. And I'm not just saying feel the good stuff, feel the bad stuff too. Because emotions are useful. Like, emotions of fear could be useful if it tells you you need to prepare for something, right? That's a useful emotion. So I'm not saying squelch the emotion, but I'm saying feel the bad, here's a question. Who's counting on you to be at your best today? Like, who's watching you all the time that you need to be able to be a good role model for? So you could go there and introduce a little bit of pain if that pain serves you to be able to level up your life, right? And you use it intelligently. So the first thing, tap into the reason. The second reason people don't do something sustainably motivated is maybe they have the reason, but they don't have the energy. Can you relate to this? Like, you know what to do, you want to do these things, but you are exhausted. And so that's why in the book, or even in the programs, like in Superbrain, I teach you 10 very specific things you could do to unlock your mental energy, right? To jumpstart your brain, the best brain food, stress management, because stress takes up a lot, fear takes up a lot of energy, right? Sleep, optimizing your sleep. How many of you loved Dr. Bruce's presentation this morning? So energy is so key, because when I look at motivation is about energy management. You know, time management is one thing, but really life should be about priority management, right? So it's because the one thing that's equal in this room, it's not everyone's, your income, it's not your connections and network, it's not your education levels. Everybody has different, right, external, but the one thing that is constant is we all have what? 24 hours in a day. And so if you imagine every single morning your bank account, automatically, every morning when you wake up, there's extra $86,400 in there. Raise your hand if that would be awesome, if you woke up to that every single morning. And here's the thing, at midnight, whatever you didn't invest and use is gone. And that's how I look at time, right? We have 86,400 seconds in a day, and whatever you're not investing in it, into something for your happiness, for your health, for something that's gonna outlast you, then we lose it every single day. So priority management, the way I think about it is, the most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. I'll say this again. The most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. And when I'm talking about your energy is everything. And so people could zap your energy. I was having this conversation with Simon Sinek and Susan Cain, who wrote a great book called Quiet. How many of you read Quiet? It's about the power of introverts. How many of you would say you're an introvert? Look around. Well, I appreciate you coming out today. How many of you are extroverts? How many of you are not quite sure? You're like in between. They call them ambiverts. So we were talking about this concept and saying like an introvert is somebody who wakes up with 5 golden coins, and they're energy coins. And then an introvert, every time they interact with someone during the day, they give up one of their coins. Until after a few people, then there's like, okay, I gotta recharge, and you know what I mean? Extroverts, on the opposite side, they wake up with no gold coins, and they're constantly want to interact with people because they get coins, right? And they get energy. And so the idea here is energy management. And so these 10 keys in Superbrain in the book, or just see it online, the 10 keys, some of the keys besides food and nutritional supplementation, stress management, sleep, are the positive peer group. We all need people in our life that encourage us. We all need people in life that challenge us. We all need people in life that cheerlead for us, that help encourage us, that give us courage, right? How many of you found that person know that person in your life? And if you haven't found that person, be that person. Be that person for somebody else. Especially be that person for yourself. I think in this culture it's so important that we fall in love with the person in the mirror who has been through so much but is still standing. Yes, yes. And part of self-care and self-love, tactically, is remembering when you say yes to somebody or something, you're not saying no to who? To yourself. That sometimes the way to become limitless is setting some boundaries and borders on your time, on your energy, on some of your emotions, because you can only give what you have, right? And so I call everybody here a grow giver, because you grow so you have more to give. And that's nature. Everything in life grows, and everything in nature has to be able to give back into the big system, right? But coming back to motivation, keys are, if you want to get yourself to do something, you haven't yet done it, come up with the reasons first. Feel it. Allow yourself to feel it, even if it's painful, because it gets you to move. And then secondly, give yourself energy, because if you don't have the energy to do it, you're not going to do a thing. And then I said, is this it? Is this the magic formula for motivation? Having a reason and having energy. And I said, does this work in 100% of the cases? And And I was like, no, it doesn't. Because if the thing that you're not motivated to do is either too big or unclear, you're not going to take action. Does that make sense? Like if you're motivated to get in a great relationship, that's way too big, right? If you're motivated to start an online coaching business, right? That's a big thing, and that could be intimidating and be confusing. And the goal, though, is to take it into a small, simple step by asking yourself one question. What is the smallest action I could take right now that will give me progress towards this goal?